Yes, I'm HeGe. Nice to see you all here. Good sessions already. Good to see Pekka. I live in the valley for 4 years, so I was used to meet Pekka sometimes over there. And that was good times. And yeah, so I came back to Finland last year and then started heading the Digital Chocolate Studio in Helsinki. And I'm talking about the future of gaming from, of course, our perspective. We'll be touching some of the things that we have discussed already, and hopefully at least a few things that we haven't gone through there. So the title is Cross-Platform Gaming, the Next 1 Billion Gamers. Digital Chocolate, probably people in Finland know it fairly well, but quickly. So we've been around for about 10 years. In Finland, it all started from the studio called Sumea, and that was acquired by Digital Chocolate. And Digital Chocolate is a company from the valley, so our headquarters are in San Mateo in the valley, and then we have a studio here in Helsinki that I'm heading, and we have a studio in Barcelona, and then we have some support functions in Bangalore, basically QA, some testing. We also have basically the games when they are sunsetting. We are moving over to Bangalore, and then our studio guys can come up with the next full game. So that's basically the setup. And we started at that time with mobile, so people are talking about mobile is the cool thing. Mobile has been the cool thing for a while, but it's very different than then, because mobile at that stage, like 10 years ago, you created small Java games, and they went on to basically the operators who ensured that they got to the users, and then there was just a price for the game, whatever that was. And we actually created hundreds of games at that stage. So now it basically takes a year for us to come up with a service, which our games are. We could create, you know, billions of games at that stage, and lots of them were actually selling extremely well. So I had lots of successes. Here are just some of the later ones that we have had on Facebook and mobile. You know, Millionaire City was a pretty big one from the Barcelona studio. Hopefully we've been playing like Zombie Lane and Army Attack, which are from the Helsinki studio. And some of the latest ones are Galaxy Life, and the latest one from Helsinki is Crazy King in Wars. If you like funny attacks and gameplays and you know, doing crazy things and killing other people, and anybody almost on Facebook, a synchronous game, we will love Crazy King in Wars, and we'll get that out on iPhone, at least on an iPad, pretty soon. So I wanted to start with a question there. So is the gaming world in trouble? And if you read the news about the gaming world and take a look at, you know, how are the players doing there, take a look at EA, who has been around for like 30 years. Everybody knows EA and their games. They seem to be in trouble. And even Skene, who hasn't been around for that long, and they had a billion IPO, they are in trouble. So what's going on out there? And I would say that it's like any industry that is becoming really hot and sexy. If you've been around for 30 years, you know, you really got to renew yourself, or you will fall out of the business. And I would say with Skene it's the same thing, that even they haven't been around for that long. But if you take a look at their games, only the recent games have maybe been a little different, but you know, all the games were called Ville. I think that's a little boring. Well, if it would be a Finnish company, I think it would be good. Ville would be a pretty good name for a game. But they were pretty similar. They were just sequels coming, looking the same way. So it's a typical example that you can become really big, but you definitely have to innovate if you want to stay big. So I wouldn't say that the gaming industry is in trouble, but if you take a look at the news, it's just a very typical thing. The social networking business, all kinds of businesses were the same, that when everybody goes there, you know, the new ones, there's some new innovation coming in. If you've been there for too long, if you don't change, you know, somebody will run over you. So definitely lots of opportunities there, and for Finnish companies when it comes to mobile. So I won't go through the whole slide. I saw it like a week ago, and I think it was just, you know, it's an interesting collection of things. What it basically says is, if you take a look at the left, it's developer, so who develops the game, how do you get that game to the consumer? And the big ones are really, if you take a look at the bottom, you will see EA, you will see lots of console developers and so on. The distribution mechanism was really like through retail, you know, maybe in the US you could go through Netflix and so on, but physical pieces that go somewhere. That's the way the world was looking a long time ago. But then if you go up there, you'll see that all the other modern companies, basically, they go through digital distribution. And that's where people are expecting to find their games, and that's how you find the users. So, you know, Facebook, you know, the App Store, there's a huge amount of other networks actually in addition to those where you can actually place your game anywhere and not create a physical piece of thing, but really a software service that you put somewhere. So that really says how the world has changed a lot in a few years. But Aki talked a lot about that, so it just happened that I had the same slide. The good thing is we're thinking similar with Aki apparently. So cross-platform gaming. I've skipped lots and lots of things in this slide, leaving just a few ones that have been relevant for us. So taking a look at going back 10 years. So at that stage, we were, or the company as Sumea was doing, you know, Java games going out to the simple phones that we had at that stage and basically distributed to the operator. So mobile was still a big thing. You know, I'm not saying nothing happened for many, many years, but I just haven't put anything in there. But really the big one coming after that was, for our point of view, then Facebook opened the APIs. You could actually create applications and utilize the features of Facebook and show what you were doing, how the feeds and so on. And of course the next one, if you take a look at another platform, the iPhone came out and the iPhone App Store, and later on the application interface that enable you to do all the cool things you can actually do now when you create a game onto the iPhone. Same thing, of course, Androids came up and they had a similar App Store and so on. And if you take a look at some big things there, of course, Skene came up with Farmville. That was like a huge, huge game. And they created a big sequel of those games, utilizing the features on Facebook, using the social and so on. And then I would say really big thing is, of course, the iPad. If anybody has an iPad and play the game on iPad, that's really a fantastic platform to play on. So, of course, there's been lots of other platforms, but definitely you can see that it's moving, and some of the things are actually even coming back, but they're all developing and becoming more social. And I'll talk about a few things there, how, you know, what would be needed to actually get all these things together. But now they are different platforms, which makes it, you know, complicated for a developer. So a few things. I'm glad the poll says this, so basically nobody will disagree. Free to play is definitely big if you want to go into cross-platform gaming. Virtual goods, so basically the games, there's no price for the game, but inside of a game you can, you know, purchase weapons, energy, whatever is needed, so you accomplish a task faster, you win a battle, whatever is needed there for you to be successful in the game. The game mechanic, simple, social, personal. I would say simple, yes and no. So everybody expects the Facebook game to be actually very casual and maybe a little boring. I would say that games are definitely moving towards the way that console games have been. More hardcore, you know, more movie-like things that I like. There's really a story behind it, not just something that you know, play for a while and, you know, start the farming or whatever. You know, something much more fun. But social is very important fact. So either you fight against others, or you work together with other people to achieve the goal that you should achieve in the game. Like if it's a fighting game or a strategic game, whatever is needed. Interoperable, so platform roaming is definitely something that will be very big. So if you can have a game that is running on Facebook, and you have the exact same running on an iPad, iPhone, and Android, that would be pretty cool. Because you could start the game maybe in the evening, running on your laptop, maybe in the morning when you get on a bus or on a train, you start the same game on your iPhone, and you can continue from where you were running the game on Facebook, and then the same thing when you come somewhere else. So that is really a cool thing, and not too many people do that, but that would be really big. Viral discoverability, so if you think about, we actually have a session about marketing, I think, later. So marketing and how you actually get your game to the users, how you ensure that users will tell that your game is great, all the viral things that will happen there, the social media, usage of social media, so actually your game will become successful. And definitely mobile is really big. So even if you have your game running on many platforms, let's say Facebook, Google+, and a few mobile ones, the mobile will be very, very important. And you could create the biggest and best version of your game and put it maybe on an iPad or something like that. So there's a few ones over there. Quick look at this. We're all gaming experts here, so I won't go too far into it, but I think it's interesting when you put it in this way to take a look at if you purchase something for a specific price, or if it's free to play and then virtual goods. So this example here is how basically we divide our users. Whales, the guys who can spend as much as possible. Maybe a guy who comes from Saudi Arabia. You know, we had that happening, like somebody pays like $1,000 for a virtual gun, which is crazy, but in Saudi Arabia they have the money apparently. Hobbyists who will pay something in the game, and then drive-bys who just pick up the game, they'll never pay, they will play for a while and maybe go away. So divided it into like somebody who could spend $1,000 up front there, or then $1 at the minimum. So let's say if your game has a specific price, if you have to buy the game and it's not free to play, let's say if it's $6, then that's all you get. Those who are ready to pay $6 will pay for it. Those who would be ready to pay $1,000 will only pay $6. And those guys who maybe are ready to pay $1, they won't pay it. So that's how you can see that you really don't get that much money as a developer if there is a price for a game. But then the opportunity is if it's a free-to-pay game, there's no price for a game, but then you have virtual goods inside of the game. You can buy a gun, energy, and so on. Then you can utilize the whole scale. So the crazy guy from Saudi Arabia will pay $1,000 for that gun. And maybe the guy who is willing to pay just $1 to get a little more energy, be a little faster in the game, he will still pay that, and you can get all that money in between. Simple, and that's why I say free-to-pay is really the way to go. So combining a couple of things, gameplay and cross-platform. So gameplay on this side, so if you play on your own, play with the game and you play against yourself or a simulated thing, or if it's social, so you actually play against other people or with some other people, that's that scale. And then cross-platform, so having a game running just on one platform like Facebook, or having it running on Facebook and on iPhone, iPad, Android. So basically what you will have is really higher ARPU from having many platforms. People will engage longer with you, especially in a case like if you set the game out first on Facebook and then like 2 or 3 months later you put it out on iPhone. Could be that they played the one version there and then they find that, hey, there's a cool version also for my phone, so I continue with the same title for a long, long while. And definitely whale spotting, as I thought before here, so doing the free-to-play and the cross-platforms. You can find those guys who are really ready to pay a lot inside of your games. Surveys, we try to know as much as possible about our users. So here's a few things that the users are saying. So out of our Facebook players, 100% has a smartphone, and they actually play also on their smartphones. So that really shows that we should have our game not just only on Facebook, also on some mobile phones. Long-term loyalty is increased when you have it on several platforms, actually 3 times. 70% of the user will pay more if they play across several platforms. That's good if you want to survive as a gaming company. And the same thing with RPU, 20% more if you have multiple platforms. So for us, definitely our users say that they like it the way we have, that we have our games on separate platforms. And it also enables us to do things like, if we develop a game, we can take a look at which platform does it work on best. So maybe we first launch it on Facebook if it seems like a good Facebook game, but it could be that actually this game would work best on an iPhone. Then we do it that way, and then we take a look at should we put it on some other platform. And then we can also follow the trends. Let's say that mobile becomes very good, we have that expertise. Maybe Google Plus comes up or whatever, we have that expertise. So it keeps us more mobile in that sense, that we can move from one platform to another. One example of just shortly what we did. So Zombie Lane, one of our titles, it was originally planned for Facebook, but we had at an early stage thought that it could be cool on mobile too. And we had done it before, but I think this was one that we actually created a different version and thought about what it should be on a different platform. So of course the big difference is like the left one is the Facebook version, the right one is the one for iPhone, just showing different sizes of screens. So you have to think about, of course, the gameplay. So if you have a big screen like your laptop, you can do lots of things on that screen. You can have lots of things moving. You can have the controls in a different way. Maybe you have a keyboard that is easier to use, whatever. All those kinds of things you of course have to rethink when you put it on a mobile, and maybe think about what you could do there to make it easier to move around and navigate and make it look like in a good way for the mobile. Then talked about the other things there, but really what the users said there too, like they would really like that if they played a game on Facebook, even if the game is maybe a little different on the iPhone, if they were interoperable. So basically the points they get on one platform, if they continue on another platform, they can continue from the game. So that is really a big wish. Definitely higher ARPU on mobile. People are ready to pay a lot, and especially the App Store, if you think about people having their credit cards there, it's very easy to just click and buy some item. That's of course the biggest hurdle. If there's a new nice platform, some people mentioned Windows. So we definitely, the things we take a look at it, of course, there's got to be enough users, there's got to be enough gamers, and then of course the purchase has to be easy. So it's not like if we ask the guy, would you like to buy this gun, he doesn't have to fill in his credit card number and name and stuff like that. Then it's a lost battle. That has to work well. The iOS and Android had a similar RPU, actually, at least in the Zombie Lane case, but the strongest retention was actually on Android. It was pretty interesting. That has varied a little from our titles. So lots of things you have to think about when you plan, and which platform is your game actually planned for initially. It makes really a difference. So a few benefits of cross-platform gaming. So more accessibility for your players. Of course, your game is available on many platforms. You get more engaged and loyal players, more deep social engagement. Cross-promotion, I would say that's a big thing. So if you have like your game first on Facebook, you could actually tell those guys who have been playing for a while that, hey, this game has been running now for 6 months, and would you like to try a new version of this game that is actually available on iPhone now? So you could actually tell the users, direct the users to something else. So using cross-promotion from one platform to another is really a big thing. And just the global brand building, when you have your games running on different platforms, you can also take a look at which countries are playing more on the mobile, more on Facebook and so on, and you can ensure that actually have users from all parts of the world. So, and of course, more money from your games is not a bad thing. So, ending with a few predictions for mobile gaming. HTML5, I mentioned that before, it's number 2. I think that's a big one. So, if you think about how much development time and cost goes into creating a different version of your game for every platform, wouldn't it be nice if you just create one version and then it runs everywhere? And that is the possibility with HTML5. So if you have just the browser and HTML5 technology becoming good, you could do that. The hurdle so far has been that really graphics haven't been that good, and complicated games really don't work that well with HTML5. But that is getting better as the microprocessors, memories, everything is getting faster, and the whole HTML technology. The tablets, I mentioned before, iPad, it's great to play games there. That is definitely a platform, and the whole mobile, which is good because that's what Finnish people know about. Cross-platform currency, that is one thing there, so think about it. Facebook has its own way, you have to put your credit card there. App Store has their own way, and they work in a different way. Wouldn't it be nice if there's one currency or one API that you could just go to from your games and it work in the same way? That would make it easier for developers. And social mobile will definitely drive it. So mobile is the cool thing. I don't think social goes away. Definitely using all these features, making it really successful. And as mentioned, that is really good for Finland because we have expertise in this area. So that's all I had. Just try Crazy Thing Wars on Facebook, and if you want one of the latest games on mobile is Galaxy Life, try them out and see how you like it. Thank you.